humanworks8 is a team of business consultants who improve an organization's bottom line by building sustainable people practices. Their efforts bring work to life and life to work. humanworks8 provides the framework to achieve our organization's next level of success focused on people at the center. I love this episode you're about to hear from my passionate friends at humanworks8.
Hi, Humanscape listeners. This is Jason Cochran, the adaptive futurist at humanworks8, a people and culture strategy firm. And we are thrilled to re-release some of our very best culture and podcast episodes from 2023 to our brand new Humanscape podcast feed, where we're going to be helping you bring work to life and life to work.
These shorter episodes are just an appetizer for something even bigger that's on the way. I'm Shawn Gulyas, the thought catalyst at humanworks8. We'll be sharing innovative and emerging practices that are driving the evolution of people and work, both from our own team, but also from top thought leaders around the world. Welcome, friends. My name is Shawn Gulyas, and I'm the thought catalyst with humanworks8.
And I'm Sarah Marshall, the experience architect at humanworks8.
And you are listening to Culture and the Future of Workplace Culture, part of the GGG Unleashed series. And remember, now that I'm unleashed, I plan to stir things up. So I brought Sarah today. That means double trouble. And I hope you'll join me each and every month as we think about culture and people, culture and strategy, culture and mattering. If you are a business founder, HR leader, or simply passionate about strong organizational culture, join me every time in wondering about what's ahead to build strong cultures. We want cultures that spark engagement and align people around shared values and purpose. You will leave every month with some new thoughts and some tangible tools to guide your cultural journey and aid and bring this thing we call aliveness to your organization. Are you ready to bring work to life and life to work? I know we are, so let's go. If you've been tuning into the series since its launch, you'll know that we're halfway through the points on what we call the cultural compass. Today, we're going to talk about and share with you some thoughts around communication, culture, and communication. At humanworks8, we say everyone contributes, and we believe that. We question together, we communicate clearly, we love good conversations. We believe each person has a voice and a valuable point of view, be it through your internal communication channels such as an intranet, email, or live all-hands meetings, through pulse survey questions, feedback loops, team meetings, and of course, one-on-one communication. When we ask executive leaders and business owners about top challenges, time and again, they say communication. It always tops the list. And I know if there's anyone who can dig into the details of communication challenges and what exactly someone means when they say communication is an issue at an organization, it's Sarah.
Thanks, Shawn. Communication is the single most effective way to help the members of your team feel connected and aligned to each other and to your organization's reason for being. Through research, McKinsey has proven that well-connected teams increase their productivity by 20 to 25%. And further research shows that organizations with effective communication strategies are 3.5 times more likely to outperform their peers. In the last episode of Culture and, Shawn talked about teams. There's even more data out there showing communications linked to retention, engagement, and performance.
That's amazing, Sarah, though. 25% more productivity.
So what's holding people back from effectively communicating? And how can they embrace a new mindset around that idea that everyone contributes? Let's call out the elephant in the room.
Oh, here's trouble.
Communication is a catch-all word. It covers so much ground: organization level, leadership communication, interdepartmental communication, cross teams, one-on-one, even hallway conversations. And it all also varies by level, by role, and of course, work location. But regardless of whether you're communicating to 1 or 1,000, our 365 model stands. 365 means that your organization has a culture of communication, of contribution, of conversation. It's alive and it's ongoing. Communication is not safe for once-a-year team meetings. It's not only for big victories or the toughest challenges. It means that you know the answers to these 3 questions. What do employees want or desire? What are the best ways to reach your employees? And what do they want to learn about? Keep those in mind as we unpack this model. The 365 communication model is comprised of 5 key components: communicating daily, consistently, collectively, proactively, and honestly. Let's clarify what each of those mean. Daily. Whether we're talking about organization-level communication or leader direct report communication, communication is a daily practice. Each interaction generates a connection, a sense of trust, a feeling of belonging. A daily touch base creates an action, a win, a result. Leaders, start the habit of practicing daily communication on both business and personal updates. Think about it this way. The people within your organization are still communicating with each other daily, whether you're part of that conversation or not. Get engaged with your team. They should be hearing from the company and hearing from you. 67% of managers feel uncomfortable with face-to-face communication with their employees. So my advice, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Next, consistently. Consistently is a special one because it really has 2 meanings. The first, communicate using a single source of truth. One channel for reaching your employees always. I'm not saying only one communication to get your message across. The rule of 7 still applies, though I've recently heard the magic number is 13. 13 times to hear a message before it's truly processed.
So that's not unlucky. That would be lucky to do it 13 different ways.
Lucky 13. What I mean is create a hub of communications. Think company intranet. When your employees know where to tune in and aren't expected to search multiple channels, communications are better received and employees begin to trust the source. Your organization-level communications are always happening the same way, on the intranet. This single source of truth platform is still supported by the many other channels you probably thought of when I mentioned the rule of 7. Get creative and meet employees where they are. Team chats, office signage, email, and more. That's all for message reinforcement. But shift the expectations you have for how employees access information. Drive your team members to the intranet. And it is hard work to do that, but don't give up just yet. And when it comes to communications, you've heard this before, consistency is key. If 74% of employees believe they are missing out on important company information, give them a reason to put their minds at ease. A single source of truth. Your invariable practice of communicating via the intranet. And think about this. A single source of truth starts with the company's voice at the organizational level, but it's very much supported by the leader's voice, which should really be an echo. Leaders are key to maintaining this consistency across communication.
I love that thought and that image of a leader's voice being an echo of the organization, Sarah.
It's true. And here's the second meaning. Consistency means using one common language across your humanscape. We have one at humanworks8, and it's tied to our values, our ways of working, our unique strengths, our foundation of Kolbe wisdom. Using this common language, speaking it, clarifying it, continuing to build it, that creates efficiency, clarity, and accountability. It's present in our processes, frameworks, and daily communications. And there are words we use and ones we really intentionally don't. So what's your organization's language? How is it formed? How is it being used? And how is it introduced to new members of the team? Maintaining that common language is a practice. Keep building. Whew, consistency is a big one. Still with me?
I'm still with you, Sarah, and I just want to echo your 2 consistency points. That single point of truth and that common language and the growth of that language, we believe, are so important to a strong organizational culture.
Exactly. Ready for number 3? Collectively. This one might shock you. Remember how Shawn said we believe everyone should have a voice? Communication comes from everyone at your organization. Not only are all of your employees brand ambassadors, and if they're not, you have work to do, but all of your employees are essential to the organization moving toward its reason for being. It's not just the loud ones, not just the ones with the highest salaries or with communication in their titles. Getting employees involved in being both the messenger and the active recipient creates a culture of contribution that strengthens team connection and engagement. Employees who believe they have been heard by their coworkers and leaders are 4.6 times more likely to feel empowered to do their best work. Doesn't that sound good?
That is what is needed. Not just sounds good. It's almost like an imperative that organizations need to focus on and take intentional action around.
So how can they do this? Invite and empower them to share team updates, major project progress. Let them submit announcements, team photos, calendar suggestions. Commit to your process for vetting and sharing their content. This culture of contribution influences the way an organization operates at every level. If your intranet is a site that is of, by, and for the employees, empowering and valuing voices, departments and teams will be guided that same way too. The most important thing to remember here is this word: conversation. Talking with people, not talking at them. And yes, even on the intranet. Let's move on to number 4, proactively. When's the last time, without reasonable explanation, you withheld something from another person? By the time the truth comes out, maybe you weren't the one to share it. Perhaps speculation and gossip already turned a tough situation into an even worse one. If you know the answer, or even half of it, now share it. And if you don't, share that too. Get ahead of issues and don't wait for unanswered questions to turn into irreversible internal communications nightmares. Remember when I said that whether you're part of the conversation or not, the people in your organization are communicating with each other? Use that as inspiration. Clarity and confidence in your communications will set the foundation for trust. And one note on proactive communications for people leaders: check out the humanworks8 You Matter Here conversation planner in the show notes. This tool is dynamite for leaders who want their direct reports to be proactive in communicating too. And if you were hoping for us to cover the topic of feedback, brace yourself. That could be an entirely separate episode. Last but not least, the 5th component of the 365 communication model: honestly. Honesty might be represented in one of your core values, but we call honesty a permission to play value. You wouldn't hire anyone to be part of your team if they weren't honest, if they weren't truthful, straightforward, fair, sincere, genuine. Hold yourself accountable to that same expectation. Celebrate the good news and be transparent about the not so good, especially during times of change, growth, and uncertainty. We're looking at you: layoffs, pandemics, and mergers or acquisitions. Want to know the secret to honesty? It's leave egos at the door. Knowledge is power. And if you're sharing it, it's not that you're less powerful. It's that your organization's people become more powerful. That's honest communication. So there you have it. Those are the 5 essential components of the workplace communication equation: daily, consistently, collectively, proactively, honestly. If your organization is ready for improved communication, and it should be, considering 97% of employees believe communication has an impact on their task efficiency, start with our 365 communication model. And as always, reach out to continue the conversation. Sarah with an H at humanworks8.com or Shawn at humanworks8.com.
Thanks, Sarah. I've been waiting so long for this element of the cultural compass, only because we hear it each and every time we have conversations with clients, with team members, with leadership teams. And I believe the 365 model framework that you went through today is critical for looking at intentional actions to increase communication and strengthen it across an organization. Thanks again.
You're welcome. That was fun. Thank you.
I look forward to every month sharing and focusing on a new culture and topic. And if Sarah got you wondering about your culture and communication today, then I encourage you to keep the conversation going on LinkedIn, through my Wondering Wednesdays posts and dialogue, or maybe signing up for the HumanWorks 8 newsletter. But back to Wondering Wednesday, each Wednesday I share something I'm wondering about. Sometimes it's a client challenge, a leadership question. Sometimes it's around communication. Come wonder with me, and see you next month on Culture and the Future of Workplace Culture. Don't just adapt. Take the lead towards a brighter, more fulfilling future for your team and your business by tuning into these episodes and then subscribing to our Humanscape podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.